What's up, everyone? This is Zach with Top Deck Nation coming at you today with a new video segment that I would like to call Deck Showdown. Basically, it's where we put two decks to the test, and today I do have a special treat for you. So this format is going to be XY Steam Siege, which is unfortunately going to be kind of a short-lived format just because it's kind of exclusive to the World Championship format of 2016. But again, it is going to be XY Steam Siege, so it's going to be a really interesting format. On the left, you have me, and I'm going to be playing Volcanion-EX, which I've found to be a really, really awesome deck, really fast and consistent. And then on the right, we have my wife playing Trevenant BREAK, also very good. That turn one item lock, shutting off a lot of decks pretty instantly and, taking a lot of games that way. So we're going to go ahead and start here. So I do apologize if the camera angle isn't the best. I'm in the process of getting a different tripod just so I can do more of an overhead kind of view so you can see everything that's going on. But we are just kind of making do with my camcorder here, so forgive me for that, but we're going to go ahead and start. And looks like I've mulliganed twice here. I think I play like 10 basics in here, so just kind of bad luck, but that's okay. She's already getting set up there, as you can see. And basically Volcanion, it has a pretty solid Trevenant matchup. The key here is to go ahead and get that Volcanion powered up as quickly as possible. Your first turn, you can typically have maybe 3 energy on it thanks to Blacksmith. So that's really going to be the strategy. And, also not putting out, a lot of different attackers that have like 2 and 3 retreat costs. So hopefully they don't get Lysandered up and, your opponent's just constantly using Silent Fear. So I'm going to go first here. I start off with Volcanion-EX. And if I do get any of the cards wrong, I do apologize, guys. It's just because the angle here is a little bit hard for me to see as I'm recording. So I'm going to go ahead and use a Trainer's Mail. And I'm just kind of looking to see what might be my best option against Trevenant. All right. Looks like I will pick up a Floatstone. And again, if you hear my voice kind of go in and off, it's probably because I'm trying to look at the screen myself to see what I got, just because it is a little hard to see on my end. So I'm going to go ahead and attach a Fighting Fury Belt to Volcanion and lay down Scorched Earth and go ahead and play it. So I get to draw 2 cards. Scorched Earth has a lot of synergy in here because I can quickly discard those fire energies and just Blacksmith. So that's one reason I play it, and also because it gets around that item lock, so I can still draw cards and even if I'm item locked. So I'm gonna have to pass here. My hand, I guess it isn't the greatest here. She's gonna lay down Dimension Valley, which means that Phantom's gonna be able to use Ascension for no energy, although she does attach Mystery Energy just in case. And at this point, I believe I see an N. So we're going to be shuffling our hands in, and we're both going to be drawing 6 cards just because we each have 6 prizes. So, what I'm looking for, I really need a supporter. I need to keep going, try to be as consistent as possible. If I get an energy and a Blacksmith, I can already start attacking and possibly knock out this Trevenant. But maybe also a couple other Pokemon as well. Maybe like another Volcanion and another baby Volcanion, just so I don't get knocked out in the next few turns here. So unfortunately, I can't see my hands from this angle. I'm going to try to fix that, guys. But it looks like my wife is going to play an Ultra Ball. So we're going to see what she gets here. Ideally, she probably wants to get something like a Phantom and or a Shaman. Hard to say. But she's going to Ultra Ball. We're going to see what she gets off of here. So Phantom would just have another out to getting that Trevenant and just kind of build that Trevenant army on the bench. And then Shaman would just be extra draw support. So she's going to opt to get Shaman. That's fine. I'm not sure how big her card or hand size is, I should say. But she should be able to draw a fairly large number of cards here. So we're just going to see in a minute. She's just shuffling. But I've got to wonder, Trevenant, it's so consistent because of that turn 1 item lock. Even against decks like Eviltal, where it loses because of like weakness, getting that turn 1 item lock is so big that it can actually win you games without even having to do anything. So many decks play a ton of items. I mean, I don't even know how many I play in Volcanion, probably a good 30 plus, but it's unreal how many items and trainers we kind of depend on to get our decks going. All right, so we're going to see a setup. It looks like it was a setup for 4, I think. So, at this point, I'm trying to wonder if she's going to get another Phantom out, but she's going to Ascension. So Trevenant's going to come on the board, and I am going to be item locked, unfortunately. So yeah, there it comes. And I'm going to have to figure out a way around this. I'm going to have 7 cards in my hand, so pretty good. I think in this particular build, I play a ton of supporters. If you want to see the list itself, check out our channel, Top Deck Nation. We do have that deck profile up, so be sure to check that out. But I've found Volcanion to be a really, really good deck. It's been really consistent. I'm going to opt to use Professor Sycamore just to kind of get rid of items and draw as many cards as I can. And so I do see a bunch of energy in my hand, so I'll go ahead and attach. Thankfully, Trevenant hasn't exactly done much damage to me, so that's really good. With Fighting Fury Belt, assuming he doesn't get knocked off, it would take like 7 or 8, I guess 8 Silent Fears. So it's kind of ridiculous. Bursting Balloon obviously helps my opponent's math there, but, I've found that if you just kind of pass during those turns, that's kind of how you win against like Trevenant. If they play Bursting Balloon, you just keep passing until they're gone. And then of course you have enough energy and stuff to just start one-shotting. And that's another reason why Volcanion is so good. It's got that steam up ability, which basically says that if I discard a fire energy, from my hand, then all of my basic fire Pokemon's attacks do 30 more. So that's really good, and it stacks. So if I've got multiple Volcanion, I can discard multiple fires and get 30 for each one. So really good. So at this point, it looks like she opted to use Tree Slam, so probably the right play there. I'm trying to see what to do. I put down another Volcanion-EX. And if you are having some trouble seeing what's going on, you might want to go to full screen and just make sure that you have HD turned on. I think this video is shot in 1080p. But I'm going to go ahead and let's see. I'm going to go ahead and attack. So I did have enough energy on Volcanion, and I did have an extra fire in my hand. So I used Steam Up, and basically I did 170 damage to Trevenant Break. So I don't think she had a Bursting Balloon on her Trevenant. So at this point, I'm in really good shape. She doesn't seem to have another Phantom out. So I'm going to have a turn of using items, which is really crucial. And we're going to see another end. So this time I'm going to draw 5 cards. But, that's perfectly fine. I don't even think I really played a supporter last turn. So the item lock is just so huge against me. It's really taking a toll. But, thankfully I play a pretty thick line of supporters, Scorched Earth, all that stuff. And Volcanion's actually really like self-sufficient. It doesn't really need a whole lot of items to get going. If you can just have a turn or so, then you're pretty much good to go. And, you always want to make sure you're conserving those Verse Seekers and your resources, so that way you can always reuse those supporters like Hex Maniac and Pokemon Ranger. That's all really important with Volcanion, but especially in this kind of matchup here. All right, and Wobbuffet is going to be attacking, and it looks like I think it's going to do 70 damage. So we're going to go ahead and draw. So I do have items, so this will be really good. If I had a Pokemon Ranger, that'd be especially good. Now, this was a bit of a misplay on my part. I can play Hoopa and use Scoundrel Ring because it is a psychic Pokemon. Wobbuffet's Bide Barricade ability only shuts off non-psychic Pokemon's abilities. So in that regard, I'm okay, but I was really hoping to get a Shaman off that Hoopa. So because of that, I'm kind of out of luck here. I'm going to have to just use a supporter instead and draw less cards. So I think what I'll do is actually discard this Volcanion. I don't need more than like a couple in this match because I can always use the baby Volcanions, the non-EXs. So I think I'll probably discard it. But thankfully, I was able to catch that before I, played down the Shaman and it's too late. Which, we're pretty forgiving in this kind of game. This is more of like a play testing thing. It's not an actual tournament. But I'm going to go ahead and play Professor Sycamore. I'm trying to burn through the deck as quickly as possible. Reason for that being that if I can just be more aggressive than she is, then I can probably win. I'm going to play a Scorched Earth to counter her Dimension Valley, so it'll make it harder for her to attack. I'm just kind of looking through my discard. I'm seeing what exactly is there. And I'm not sure if I can actually attack this turn because I really needed the Pokemon Ranger. So at this point, I'm trying to see what the better option might actually be here. I mean, I guess I could attack with the non-EX. Its attack does 20 damage, and then I can choose 2 of my Pokemon on the bench and attach a fire energy to each one of them. So that's kind of that's kind of doing a little bit of damage and kind of building up my guys, but at the same time, it's kind of retreating all of my energy away. So it's hard to say. It looks like I'm actually going to opt to bring in the Hoopa. So that's an interesting choice. But no, actually what I did was I Trainer's Meld and I grabbed an escape rope. So that is a bit hard to see. And again, guys, I do apologize, but I think I got an escape rope off of that Trainer's Meld. So that's going to be huge because what that did was bring out the Phantom from her side. So she didn't lose 2 prizes off Shaman. So now, if you're not familiar with Volcanion's attack, I think it's called like Volcanic Heat or something. It does 130 damage, but it says I cannot attack with that next turn. But, if it goes to the bench, that effect is kind of taken off. So, I'm seeing what's happening now. So I'm playing Escape Rope to go to Hoopa. I'm going to retreat out into Volcanion, and now I can knock out the Phantom, and that's going to, really hurt my opponent here because, the item lock is what's really doing work against me. Wobbuffet not so much, and even if Wobbuffet knocks me out, Volcanion can still just start one-shotting things. So I'm going to use this opportunity to get my VS Seekers, use them, get back all my supporters, so that way if there is some kind of item lock, it's not really going to hurt me nearly as much at this point. So I'm getting Pokemon Ranger back, things like that. I'm just trying to use as many items in my hand. Chances are I don't even know if she can get another Trevenant out that quickly, but I don't want to take that chance because, otherwise I've got a bunch of like dead cards in my hand. So, at this point, I'm just trying to cover my bases and I go ahead and take a knockout. So at this point, I think I go down to either, 4 prizes, I think. So we're going to see what happens here. And let's see. So she has the Wobbuffet. I think Wobbuffet can actually knock me out. And she uses a megaphone. So, she's definitely going to be getting the knockout at this point. So I'm just trying to see what is happening here. All right. So it looks like she's going to Ultra Ball. And it looks like from my end, I might have forgotten to take a prize. I'm not really sure. It's pretty hard to see because it's just a tiny screen from my end as I'm recording this. But I might have forgotten to take a prize off the Phantom. I'm not sure though. But we're gonna see what happens here. She's gonna Ultra Ball. She really needs to get another Phantom out, to be honest. She might, she can't really get Shaman because of Wobbuffet's abilities. So I think she really needs to get a Phantom, maybe another Wobbuffet. I don't know, but I think she did play an Ultra Ball. But either way, the prize exchange is still pretty good in her favor because. Even though I'm being really aggressive and I've taken out 2 of her Pokemon, she's going to be able to knock out, this Volcanion pretty easily and then shut off my abilities. So I still can't play things like Shaman and use Setup. But I think she does get a Phantom. All right. And there we go. I just kind of cut the deck there and... let's see what she does here. She lays down Phantom, and I think she's just going to go ahead and knock me out. So I don't even think she played a supporter this turn. So I'm going to go ahead and draw. I would love to knock out the Phantom to just kind of prevent that item lock from happening. Wobbuffet is, a bit useless right now because, it needs a bunch of damage on my board to start doing damage. But I'm able to get a Blacksmith. That's going to be huge because that means I'm going to take a knockout this turn. And even if she does kind of do damage to me, I can still get a knockout on Trevenant. And yeah, it looks like I will use Volcanic Heat, I think. All right, so she's going to play a Trainer's Meld. We're going to see what happens here. And for a minute, I did think, maybe I misplayed here because I'd already attacked last turn, but this is a fresh Volcanion-EX, so I was able to attack again. Otherwise, obviously I can't play Pokemon Ranger and Blacksmith in a turn, so... I was just kind of checking that, but I was able to knock out Wobbuffet, but Trevenant does come down and it's kind of scary. If she has like a Wally or something, that could really hurt me because that means she'll be able to survive for another turn. Unless I can use Steam Up, but I don't know if I have any extra fire Pokemon. or fire energy, I should say. But she's going to go ahead and set up for 6. That's going to be pretty darn big without having to use a supporter. I am afraid that she could bring up like Hoopa or something. That is kind of scary. We see a burst balloon and energy. She's getting everything she needs. And it looks like she's going to use Silent Fear, I think. So, you know, I am going to take 60 damage, and it is pretty scary because my board looks a lot better than hers, and I might even be able to pull off a knockout, but then Bursting Balloon would damage me, and then she would just bring up the Wobbuffet and knock me out again and probably use like an N. So I'm going to have to be very, very careful here. I played Pokemon Ranger, so if I can drop an energy and use Steam Up, that will be a knockout. Looks like I was able to do that, so I'll be taking yet another prize, which puts me down to 3 prizes, so that's good. So, yeah, it looks like I might have forgotten to take a prize, so I do apologize about that, guys. I might have, I'm not sure exactly, but at this point, I think I have knocked out, like, 2 Trevenants, a Phantom, and a Wobbuffet, so maybe this game would have ended a little bit earlier, but that's okay. Really, the purpose of this series is to kind of you know, give you an idea of how the decks perform and, you know, some strategies with both decks. So I hope this does help you, especially newer players out there. But it's a really exciting time to be playing the card game. There's a lot of creativity in the format. You know, dozens of decks are competitive. You know, if you remember a few years ago when they started introducing those EXs and stuff, those Pokemon EXs, you know, there might have been like 4 or 5 decks that people just kind of centered their strategies around. But now it's just like, it's unreal. I mean, there's dozens of, you know, great competitive decks, and probably a lot that are just completely under the radar that we don't even, you know, think about or haven't even thought about. But at this point, she brought up Hoopa, I believe. So she's Lysandered up Hoopa, and it's my turn again. So I need a way to get that Hoopa out of the active position. And that's why I battle compress like AZ and stuff. So if I can get like a Float Stone or an AZ or something like that, I'll be in really good shape and take those last, go down 2 more prizes. So looks like I did get a Verse Seeker. I'll use AZ on Hoopa. And at this point, again, that effect on Volcanion that says he cannot attack, it is gone because he was on the bench, and I was able to take another knockout. So at this point, it's going to be hard for her to come back. I think she might be able to take a knockout off Wobbuffet, but it's hard to say. She's going to Sycamore. She needs a way to retreat out Shaman, or I just kind of win the game if I have like a Ranger or something, which I probably do. I'm not sure though. So we're going to see what happens. I think she may have to pass. I think she did whiff the energy or whiff something. And regardless, you know, I am down to, you know, 1 prize. So even if she retreated, that wouldn't matter. She really needs to attack more or less. So we're going to see what happens here. You know, is she going to pass? She's just kind of thinking about what kind of move to make here. And I think she realizes there's nothing she can really do. So I'm going to go ahead and draw. And I need a way to remove that effect on me. I need to see if Pokemon Ranger's in the discard, or maybe I can just retreat out and use Blacksmith or something like that. So let me see what I can do here. All right, I'm just kind of seeing what's in my discard. I'm going to go ahead and use Energy Retrieval. So maybe I am trying to power up something else. So I might be able to finish it off with a Baby Volcanion. So I do retreat out. I'm going to go ahead and Steam Up. So that second attack is going to be doing 130 damage now. And there's the Blacksmith. And I'll be using the second attack for 130 damage to win the first game of the series. So there we go. I was able to win that pretty convincingly. I think I won by like 4 prizes or something. But we're going to go ahead and jump into game 2 now. So if you see the screen freeze, that's fine. We just stopped recording for a second, but we're going to go ahead and pick it back up now. So at this point, it is going to be game 2. She has opted to go first, and that's fine because if she gets like a turn 1 Wally, you know, she will get the turn 1 Trevenant, and that's going to be big. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and draw our opening hands here. Hopefully I won't mulligan this with this game. It looks like she does. So I'll go ahead and put that die on the deck just to kind of let me know. And hopefully this will go a little bit better than last time. You know, the last game, not that great of a start. You know, the item lock was kind of hurting me. I didn't really have a supporter to start the game. I was really fortunate that she played an N, But now we're going to see what happens here. So she's going to go ahead and draw her cards. And like I said, we will mulligan at least once. And yeah, there we go. So we get a basic and I will draw an extra card. And we will start this game 2 of the series and see how it goes, guys. All right, so we're going to flip things over. I start with Volcanion-EX, which is probably my ideal starter. And of course, she starts with Phantom, which is probably her ideal starter. You know, if she can kind of thin her hand down and thin her deck enough, she can probably land that turn 1 Wally. I think she plays 3 Wally in there, so pretty consistent. So we're going to see a Trainer's Mail. You could see a Wally off of that. Let's see what happens. Looks like she grabs an Ultra Ball, I think. So she's going to go back into the deck, I believe. All right, so she's discarding, it looks like a Trevenant and then something else. So she's just kind of deciding, you know, should I discard this Trevenant? Should I hold on to it if I get another Phantom out? But she's going to go ahead and dig through her deck. I think she needs a Shaman. I think she needs to draw as many cards as possible to, you know, maximize that turn 1 Wally. And she did attach, it looks like, to the Phantom. It's hard to see from here, but I think she did. But we do see Shaman. Thankfully, she didn't start with Wobbuffet because, you know, its Bide Barricade ability would shut off Shaman. But now we're going to see what happens here. She's going to play Shaman. You set up. Looks like she's getting... looks like she got 4, so pretty solid, pretty solid. You know, if I can only set up and get 1 or 2 cards, usually I just won't even do it. But, you know, 4 is definitely a solid setup. And she's going to play in, it looks like. I think maybe I wasn't sure where she got the in from, but she's going to play in, and that's a huge relief for me because that means I will get to play items on my next turn here. So that gives me a turn of items, which might be just enough to, you know, battle compress some stuff or pull off a blacksmith or something like that. Maybe take an early knockout. Hard to say. But this, you know, Volcanion is extremely, extremely aggressive. It's a really fast deck. It reminds me of Entei from back at, you know, the city championships about probably 7 months ago. But very, very similar in strategy. But I do like Volcanion because it's got that dual typing. I'm not really sure if I've figured out a way or if anybody's really figured out a way to take advantage of that. But I think it is cool that it has dual typing because technically you can use Dive Ball to get it out. Technically, you know, I guess it does work with like water kind of decks, water engine kind of decks. So, I mean, I guess it could be teched in there, but it does have that fire energy cost. So maybe, you know, maybe you have to use like rainbow energies, things like that to make it work in like a water deck. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my card, and we're going to see what happens. It looks like I lay down a baby Volcanion. I attach for turn. Can I get that turn 1 blacksmith? Because that's going to be huge. I put a floatstone on the baby, and I'm going to play an N. So unfortunately, I'm not going to get the turn 1 blacksmith. But that's okay. It does put a supporter in my discard, which basically kind of makes all those Verse Seekers, which would normally be useless in your deck your first turn, basically turn into supporters. So if I draw any Verse Seekers, I'm probably going to use those to get back in. And it looks like her board is actually really good the first turn. She's got a couple Phantom, so, you know, Trevenant's not going to go anywhere. She's got the Wobbuffet, she's got a Shaman, so she was able to set up, and she's got a couple more spots as well. So I guess ideally she'd probably want another Phantom and then maybe like another Shaman to set up. But I'm going to see what else is in my hand. I'm going to go ahead and use Professor's Letter. I think I only opted to get 1 fire energy. That might have been a bit of a misplay. I'm not sure. Because you want to get as many fire energy as you can. Because if you get locked, I mean, obviously you want to have plenty of energy in your hand to at least attack if you're item locked. So probably a blunder on my part, but maybe she'll use like an N or something again. So, oh, there we go. It looks like I kind of decided, you know, I need both these energy because if I'm item locked, I'm not going to be as lucky here drawing those cards. So I'm going to play Battle Compressor. I'm thinning my deck out. There's Blacksmith, there's AZ, and then I'm trying to figure out what other card I want to get rid of. And this is just in case I do get like a Verse Seeker or something and I'm technically like out of the item lock. But typically, you want to use Battle Compressor on these one of cards, on energy, things like that. That's why Battle Compressor's in this deck. And I really like Battle Compressor in here. Unfortunately, Volcanion is losing a ton of cards. It's losing Battle Compressor, it's losing Blacksmith. So many cards that make the deck just extremely powerful like this. So it'll be interesting to see what players do. I think they'll have to rely on things like Max Elixir and the Baby Volcanion's first attack, which kind of accelerates, one energy at a time. But, the deck is going to be a lot slower. And with things like Greninja running rampant, it's hard to say how competitive it's going to be. But at the same time, once it gets going, it's really, really fast. So hard to say. But it looks like I am just kind of compressing some cards, and I Ultra Balled a couple of cards away. I use Shaman. I'm just drawing a bunch of cards. I'm going to use Trainer's Mill. I'm trying to get as many supporters as I possibly can, basically. Looks like I get a Hex Maniac, so that's going to help me next turn if I get item locked. But more importantly, I really need to get a Blacksmith out, because that's what's going to help me throughout this game. Just being really aggressive, knocking out Trevenants in one shot, Wobbuffets in one shot. That's really what's going to win me the game. Otherwise, Trevenant has that prize exchange going for it. It's got Bursting Balloon. It's got Wobbuffet's Bide Barricade. I mean, it's really hitting you with a lot of disruption. And she does put the Bursting Balloon on there. And I think she might be using Tree Slam. Yeah, I think she Tree Slams onto Shaman, and then it looks like on Volcanion. Okay, it looks like on the Baby Volcanion. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and draw. I am item locked. Keep that in mind. I'm going to go ahead and attach. I don't think I've got the Blacksmith, unfortunately. I know I've got the Hex Maniac, which I'm going to go ahead and play it just so that she can't use a Shaman, but more importantly, so that I can lay down the Fury Belt to make it a little bit harder to knock me out. And then I'm going to pass. So at this point, she can't use setup with Shaman. So I'm going to see what happens, but she does get the breakout, and that's going to be really big. So I'm wondering what she's going to do. Does she have a supporter in her hand? I'm not really sure what she has in her hand right now. She's only got one card, I think. So what is she going to do here? She is in a pretty awkward position, but it looks like she does opt to use Tree Slam again. So at this point, I've got 120 damage on this Volcanion. I'm going to see what happens here. I'm going to opt to play Sycamore. So at this point, if I can get an energy and then a second energy to use Steam Up, I'll be able to knock Trevenant out. Now, the downside about that is that I'll take 60 damage, but I think it's important that I just be really aggressive. So I use Steam Up. I still have a Fire Energy in my hand, and I'm going to go ahead and take the knockout. So I think I'm up to like 180 damage. I can't remember. So she's going to bring up Trevenant. She's going to keep up the item lock, and we're going to see what happens at this point. So let's see. She's going to attach to Wobbuffet. Wobbuffet's probably the ideal attacker here, I would think, unless she can power up maybe a Trevenant break really quickly, but I think she did attach to Wobbuffet. And I don't know what she has in her hand. Maybe she brought up the Trevenant just to, disrupt me with item lock or something. It's hard to say. But maybe she wouldn't have had the knockout. It's hard to say for sure. Yeah, we're just kind of seeing what's going on, but she's going to go ahead and draw for turn. I think I passed because I am item locked. I think my hand is actually really bad. And then I want to go ahead and wait a turn so I can attack. So at this point, I'm just trying to see what to do. And I think the reason that she brought up the Trevenant instead of the Wobbuffet, I think she actually top decked the energy. So otherwise, she could have knocked me out with Wobbuffet, but I think she did that because she top decked that energy card. So I think I'm down to like 4 prizes at this point. I think I've knocked out 2 of the Trevenants, and we're going to see what happens here. We're going to see an Ultra Ball. And ideally, I guess she wants to get out a Trevenant or a Phantom. She opts to get out Shaman, but keep in mind, Bide Barricade is going to shut that off. So I think it might have slipped my mind. I might have forgotten to remind her. And again, it looks like I might have forgotten to take a prize. Because I think I've knocked out a Trevenant and a Phantom. So maybe I'm just a little nervous on camera for the first time doing these kind of matches. So I'll be sure to make sure I pay closer attention here. But at least it gives you guys an idea of how the matchup goes, I guess. But it looks like she tried to put down the Shaman and she couldn't set up. So I think I told her she could take it back. I'm not sure if she did or not. But I'm pretty sure I told her she could take it back, which is fine. I mean, we're playtesting. This isn't like nationals or state championships or something like that. So let me see what she does at this point. So she is going to play Super Odd. And that will get back Trevenant. It looks like Trevenant Break and maybe like a Phantom or something. Maybe another Trevenant. All right, looks like she's just taking her time, figuring out what to get here. Yeah, it looks like a Phantom. So she pretty much gets the the whole Trevenant Break line. She's gonna put those back in the deck, and it looks like she hasn't put Shaman back in the discard. I told her she could, so I'm gonna see what happens. She's gonna play Ultra Ball. Or it's possible that she already played a supporter like Sycamore. It's hard to say. Maybe she just opted to leave it back, leave it in play just because, in a tournament, you wouldn't really be able to take that kind of thing back. All right, so she's looking through there. Ideally, I guess you'd want a Trevenant. You want to get that out as quickly as possible. The good thing is that I'm pretty sure she can go ahead and knock out the Volcanion. I think it's got like 120 damage on it or something like that, or 150, I don't know. But she should be able to knock it out with Wobbuffet. And that will disrupt me a little bit. She's going to go ahead and play Trainer's Mail, maybe to get like another Ultra Ball to get Phantom out or something. Let's see what she chooses to get here. Okay, and it's a bit hard to see on my end. It looked like maybe like an AZ or something. Yeah, it looks like it might have been an AZ. All right, so yeah, I think she got an AZ. I'm not sure though. Let's see what happens here. It could have been a float stone, maybe. I don't know. Okay, yeah, that's it. So she AZ'd the Shaman by mistake. And I told her she could take it back, which she did, but now, she doesn't have a supporter. So I think she opted to discard a Sycamore that turn. So unfortunately, I couldn't catch that in time because she had already made a few other plays. So yeah, a bit of a misplay on her part, and that does happen, especially if you're not used to being filmed on camera and stuff. So I guess this is good practice. But I'm gonna go ahead and draw, and I've got Baby Volcanion with a float stone on it, so I should be able to retreat out. She was able to get the knockout though, and that's fine. But what's happening here is that I think I dropped one of the die from the Volcanion-EX. So I'm just trying to figure out how much damage is on the Baby Volcanion because they got kind of mixed up. But I'm pretty sure it's got 40 on it because it got Tree Slam twice. So I think I'm going to go with 40. So again, a mess up on my part. I should just be a little more careful there, but I'm pretty sure it has 40 on it from 2 Tree Slams. So we're just going to go ahead and get that fixed and we're going to say it's 40. I might have even put 70. I don't know. But we'll go with 40, I guess, for all intents and purposes of this recording. So at this point, Wobbuffet is active. I can't play abilities. So technically Steam Up will not work. Shaman's setup will not work. So I really need a way to knock out the Wobbuffet. So a Volcanion, a Blacksmith, and an Energy would definitely do it. But I'm not really sure. Let me see what's in my hand. All right, so I think that's a Volcanion with the Fury Belt. I'm going to go ahead and Verse Seeker. So if I've got a Blacksmith, which I do, I can go ahead and attach to, and I should be able to go ahead and get a knockout. So Let's see. I retreat out, and if I have an energy, that will be a knockout, I think. And let's see, I'm gonna Ultra Ball. And what am I gonna get here? Maybe another Volcanion-EX just in case, or maybe even a Shaman for next turn. So I do get Shaman for next turn, I believe. So I can't play it right now, clearly. Otherwise, I could just draw into that fire energy. But yeah, I think I've already got the 3 energy on it. I think I attached for a turn, and then I've got the 2 from Blacksmith. So I should be able to take this knockout, go down to 4 prizes, which I guess should technically be 3 prizes. I'm gonna go ahead and Trainer's Mill. It looks like I grabbed a Pokemon Ranger, so that's pretty fortunate there. And my deck is pretty thin, and I like that because that means I should be able to draw into everything pretty much every turn. So if I need an energy, I can probably draw into it thanks to a supporter. Trevenant does come out, and so does the Bursting Balloon. Megaphone. So my opponent's gonna be in an awkward, or I'm gonna be in an awkward position, I should say, because I technically shouldn't be able to attack unless I've got Ranger in my hand, which I guess I do, but I'm going to need another energy to knock out Trevenant BREAK if she can get it out. So question is, what is she going to get with, what is she going to do here? All right, and I think she has to pass. Yeah, she's got to pass. She doesn't really have anything, so I think I've got Pokemon Ranger. I think I got it off Trainer's Mail last turn, so I was able to do that. That gets rid of that effect on Volcanion, so I can attack again. And I'm already doing enough damage. I'm doing 130 with Volcanic Heat, I think it's called, so that will knock out Trevenant. I'll take 60 from Bursting Balloon, but that's okay. And I'm just being really, really aggressive here. So if I can knock out the other Phantom off the bench, that should be game because I don't think she can really do anything else. So looks like I am going to use Blacksmith. I'm going to put down a Scorched Earth. And okay, looks like I was able to get a knockout. So okay, I'm not really sure what happened there. I might have retreated or something, I'm not sure. Or I might have just attached to the baby Volcanion. Yeah, that might have been it because I can't use 2 supporters, obviously. So that might have been it. So I'm going to go ahead and see what happens here. All right, so Phantom at this point needs to evolve. Technically she can evolve into Trevenant and then Wally into the break and have a better chance. But she's going to play an in, and I do like that because I have a pretty big hand and I probably had game next turn. So she's going to go ahead and play an in. I'm going to go down to 3 cards. She'll go down to 4, I think. But that was probably the correct move. If she can make it so like I can't attack, then she'll be in a really good shape, really good board position here. So she'll play an in, and like I said, I'll get 3, she'll get 4. She's just kind of finishing shuffling there. We'll just tap, and we're going to see what we get here. So she does need a lot. I mean, she needs the Trevenant if she wants to have a chance at actually, doing anything here at this point. There's a Bursting Balloon. So, and she's going to opt to use Ascension. So that's probably the best play she can do at this point. That'll guarantee the Trevenant. I can't really attack her, and I'm item locked. So even if I draw into a Verse Seeker, that's not really going to help since I am item locked technically. So at this point, she's trying to regain control of the game, and it is working. The item lock is probably going to hurt me a lot unless I've got a supporter. So I'm going to draw and see what I get off of here. Now, the simple thing to do, the easiest thing to do would be to just kind of pass. But hard to say. I think I'm actually going to retreat out. So if I have an energy, I can steam up. And there we go. There's a steam up, and I'll be able to knock out that Trevenant. I'll take 60, but, there goes another Trevenant. So at this point, this puts a lot of pressure on my opponent because steam up, it's making it so that she has to pretty much do that 7 prize game. If she goes for one of the EXs, that's not really going to help because the baby Volcanion is taking, You know, it's doing a lot of damage and taking knockouts. So I wonder what she's going to do at this point. She has to find a way to get that Trevenant out, or Wobbuffet, or something like that. You know, her best bet would probably be to attack with Wobbuffet, because I think she can get a knockout. But she's going to retreat to Phantom. It's going to be interesting. I think that's what she has to do if she doesn't have any other choice. But yeah, unfortunately, I think that one turn where she had, you know, she misplayed and AZ'd the Shaman while Wobbuffet was out, I think that kind of cost her the game there. So at this point, I need a way to bring up Shaman and knock it out. If I can do that, I'm in really good shape. I think I played an energy retrieval just in case. And let's see what happens here. So I'm going to go ahead and attach to Volcanion-EX. Now, keep in mind, I can still attack. You know, I'm doing 100 damage. You know, there's no kind of limitation like on the EX Volcanion. So I'm looking through my discard. I'm trying to see what is, you know, what have I used so far. And I'm just going to go ahead and take the knockout. I'm going to be very conservative. She doesn't have any more Phantoms. I guess she can bring up Wobbuffet, but at this point, I think I might have the game. So we're going to see what happens here. Can she do anything, or is she going to concede? It's hard to say. Let's see what happens here, guys. You know, she has to get Phantom out. There's a burst balloon, and what's going to happen here? She's going to pass. Okay, so if I can get a fire energy, I'm doing enough damage, I believe, to get a knockout. So, yeah, there we go. So it looks like I did have a steam up, or yeah, it looks like I did get a steam up off of that. So 130 damage, knocked out Shaman, got the thumbs up for the win. So yeah, so I'm glad you guys enjoyed the video. You know, be sure to subscribe and comment, like if you liked it, dislike if you didn't. But I'm going to try to have more of these videos up in the near future, guys. So if you liked it, just let me know. And let me know what kind of other deck showdown videos you want to see, what decks you want to see against each other. Hopefully some from Steam Siege when it comes out in the next few weeks. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe. And this has been Zach with Top Deck Nation. And I will catch you guys in the next video.